Hi guys, welcome back to the 7th episode of Pick Up the Mic. Today I'm joined by Jeffrey and Sam. Do you guys want to say a quick hi?
Hey everyone.
Hi everyone.
Awesome. So in today's episode, we're just going to be having a little discussion about revision and what the importance of revision is, a few little do's and don'ts, and we're also going to give some of our revision tips and tricks. So let's just jump straight into it. So I think the first thing that we need to address is that what revision is. So revision kind of means to look over and to read something again that was previously written or learnt by you before. But then I suppose that this also implies that you already have read through and understood the material at least one time beforehand. Because if you haven't understood what you're studying, then, I mean, what exactly is the point of revision? In the sense, what are you trying to revise if you haven't already looked at it before? So yeah, first things first, you have to read and you have to understand what you're reading as well. Don't just take things at face value. So if there's something that, you're reading and you don't understand, you should question it. You should ask, why is it like that? And then you should then go ahead and read around the topic, because the chances are the answer is actually way more interesting than you would have originally thought so. So that's kind of something to keep in mind. And that's something that I do as well. I question everything, which I suppose is a double-edged sword, because then I get I spend a hell of a lot of time on a specific topic. But on the other side, I do know that topic inside out. But yeah, revising is actually super important, because not only does it allow you to understand and remember concepts and diagrams and methods and so much more, but it also prepares you for exams and makes you feel much more confident to be able to sit them. And exam season, as we all know, is one of the most stressful times of the year. So, you're thinking, how the hell do I cram an entire year's worth of lectures into a few weeks and simultaneously understand it and remember it to be able to answer a question? So that's where we come back to revision, because all it does is reinforce the knowledge that you already have and that you've already gained throughout the entire year. So, I mean, do you guys agree with me?
Yeah, definitely. For me, most of I don't have many exams, most of it's coursework, but for the exams that I have had in the past, and I'm sure everyone reading and you guys can relate to this, is that if you've ever done revision, you don't really properly put your time and your effort into it, you actually do get really bad results. But if you actually just spend time going over every possibility, every sort of caveat, and understand it, it's almost like when you go into the exam, you can just let your knowledge flow in a way that, it depends how you're being assessed. My ones are mainly assessed through essay-based questions in exams. And so for that, you could just let it flow out. And pre-learning it meant that whatever question came, you had information you could pull from different ideas, different sources. This is for psychology/politics. If you're doing obviously a scientific based one that has a right or wrong answer, it's very different. So for one of them, you're using logical answers that come about from opinions, and there's not necessarily a right or wrong as long as you can argue it. So they actually take different skills. So I'd recommend, obviously, for that one, that you also research how to structure, how to argue a point, and to come up with the pros and cons of stuff. But I guess for science, maybe what other people are doing is just really important to just know the facts, so that you can put them back, you can put them down, you just know the answers. But I don't know. Yeah, what's your experience of exams, Jeffrey?
First off, I'm going to say I completely disagree with Ninoshka. No, I'm joking. No, I agree with you guys. I think, like you said, and I think, Sam, you're right, that having, doing this, revising, and when you've done, you've really dedicated time to revision, you've really made the effort, and then when it comes to the exam, you actually do it. You do get that sense of wow, all this knowledge that I've learned, I can, show off what I know and, put in a lot of effort. And I think, that's definitely true. And even Ninoshka, like what you were saying of this idea, you can't start revising unless you don't understand, you can't start revising unless you understand the topic. It's definitely important, because even, with our exams are a bit different than everyone. So we do essay ones, Usually we also have like for individual modules, obviously COVID's changed that, but for individual modules, we normally have like multiple choice questions as well. But then our last exam of the year is like it's basically like everything you've learned in that year comes up in the assessment. So like all your individual modules, all your like stuff you've done outside of the course, or like so other modules where, you know, it's all about just like working on projects on campus, all of that essentially comes to fruition in this last exam. And I think that's a key point of like making sure you understand everything. Because with that one, it's not like we're told like you're going to have 6 questions, one question's going to address this topic, one question's going to address that. No, you're literally told like you've got 6 questions, it's going to be on anything you've done this whole academic year. And you need to be like confident. You have to answer 2 of them. I think it's either 2 or 4 of them. But you have to you basically have to be prepared for it. And this idea of if you don't know, like you don't understand everything in every module is definitely key to, you know, it's a key limiter to getting a good grade when it comes to the exams. So yeah, definitely, I think this idea of if you don't know exactly like what you're doing, or like, you know, you don't understand, you know, stuff that's been taught, and you then try and revise it, you're just going to be stuck, and you're just not going to, and especially if it's something that you don't like, because I know I'm not sure if you guys feel the same, but I'm guessing you guys have like modules where, you know, it's either you don't like it or you're not motivated to revise for it, and I've completely gone through that as well.
You just put it off, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. And you're just like, you know, like I don't need to revise that. What are the chances of it coming up in the exam? And then boom, first questions on the one thing you didn't revise.
And then you're like, I have to answer it, but I don't know what to write now.
Exactly. And it's just that idea of like, and I know we'll get onto it later, this idea of just like making sure you try and encompass everything into revision. And even if it's like a boring subject, like I know there are some subjects when it comes to like doing revision where you're just like, this is so like it's just so boring, you know, you're basically just like, I'd rather do anything else than be doing this. Yeah, it's just one of those things where you just got to make sure. Yeah, honestly, no, I'm telling you, it's happened to me before. I've just been sitting there and I'm just like, I'd like anything, literally like anything, like it's like just like
staring at a wall.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're just there like, okay, you know, like, and then you just look at the time and you'll be like, wow, like an hour's, like 15 minutes has passed, for example, and just like, I haven't really done much revision. But yeah, I definitely think it's key. It's making sure that you understand the balance of, you know, revising stuff that you do like or you do feel confident on, but also making sure you do revise on this stuff that you might not like or you're not confident on. Because yeah, like we said, you never know what's going to be in an exam. And even if, you know, you're feeling like, oh, you know, last year's questions were this, you know, the year before that was this, maybe this means this year will be this. Yeah, you know, you can hype. And I know especially when it comes to like A-levels and GCSEs, that's one of the things that I don't know if it was the same for you guys, but like, especially our teachers would just be like, so this year, you know, like for our physics one, they were just like, they didn't ask something about, you know, there wasn't a lot on like astrophysics or quantum physics. So, you know, make sure you know about quantum physics and you're confident. Yeah. And then you're just like, okay, you know, I'll be like the best at quantum physics and I'll leave all the others and, you know, not spend as much time. And then we'll literally, like we said, like come to the exam day, boom. And then it's just like, maybe like a couple of questions on quantum physics. But then it'll be stuff like...
Or even worse, quantum physics doesn't come up. And you're exactly. Like, oh boy.
And it's like all this quantum physics, like all the videos I watched, all the notes I made, all the reading I did, just for it to just not be relevant in the exam. And yeah, I know especially like when I've done that for history, for both GCSE and A-level, that you're just like, I'm going to be confident on this subject. I'm going to revise it loads. And then it might come up, and like we said, like it might not come at all, or even if it does come up, it might just be like the question with the least marks. That might be it, and you'll be like, wow, you know, answered that so well. What's the next question? And then it'll just be like something else entirely. But yeah, I think like you said, just having that, you know, making sure you understand everything before you start the whole revision process is definitely key.
You know, you were saying about how you have your 6 questions and all that.
Yeah.
Does that tempt you to do like selective revision? Do you get like what we were saying about, oh, do quantum physics instead of this and that? Do you tend to do that? Is it tempting? Because you know that there's 6 questions you can choose from, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely tempting. Because I know we'll be talking about revision techniques later on, but like what I do is with that, so like to prepare for that module, I just do it by links. So sometimes it's the module codes that show the link, but sometimes like from yourself, you'll think about it. So like last year, for my second year, we had a module on climate change, and then we had one on like environmental pollution. So what I do is I do like and it's always on like a big A3 piece of paper if possible. And I'll just do like, I'll put my course in the middle or whatever the title for the year is. So I know for this year, it's like pollution solutions is what year 3 is called. And I'll put it in the middle. And then I'll just be like, all the different module names. So like for this year, we've had like sustainable development, ecological public health, etc. And then what I'll do is I'll do all the like specific topics we addressed. And then in another color, I like to like link them, because when it comes to revision, that's what I'll just keep an eye out. So if I know, for example, the sustainable development, one of the topics in there might be linked to the ecological public health or nature-based climate solutions is another one. What I'll do is I'll link the two, and then I'll just be like, okay, these two are linked. That could come up in a question. So I need to make sure like I know how these are linked and I can explain it and I've got evidence that supports it. And I feel like especially when especially like now, because everything's like online, you have to make sure that you've got those references ready. Because even when like I know we were doing stuff, like one of our mock questions to prepare for this was like, and it was very random, but it was just like, if everyone in the world became a vegan today, would that help tackle climate change, or how would that affect land usage, for example? And it's one of those things where you can see like the obvious links, like if people did it, then oh no, sorry. The question was like, would it actually have a benefit to the environment? And then you have to like, sometimes like the lecturer on the day was like, you have to argue both sides. So even though you might not necessarily agree that, if everyone became a vegan today, it wouldn't benefit the environment, you have to argue why someone would see that, but then show like the reasoning. So definitely when it comes to it, there is that temptation to just be like, I want to be the best when it comes to like climate change, because I know climate change is like the thing that threads it all. But yeah, I think one of the things that our lecturer just highlighted with that is if you do that, like there's still 6 other questions. So even if you're really confident on one topic, there's still 5 other questions that you're going to have to answer, and you get, it's an average of both questions that you'll get you'll get your total mark on. So if you're really strong on one, but then you're like not so good on another, that's going to bring your marks down. So yeah, I think definitely there is that temptation to do that, but just always making sure that you bring your revision back, and like planning out that you have like a certain amount of time for each module is definitely important.
Yeah, so true. Great, thanks for that, guys. That was really, really interesting to hear. So I think the next thing that is kind of important for us to discuss is how to reflect efficiently, and what kind of resources are out there for us to use and to take advantage of. So I think when it comes to revising, the first kind of obstacle that you'll most likely have to tackle is that feeling of, how am I meant to do this? Where do I begin? Because you're going to be going through an entire year's worth of portion at the end of the year, and you'll think, I don't even know where I'm supposed to start with this. And it's a pretty common feeling, to be honest, but it might put you off wanting to start this whole process of revision, because you know how much work there is to do, and the fact that you don't have a lot of time to do it in, which is pretty daunting. But to be honest, you just need to get that ball rolling, and once you do that, everything else will literally just slot into place. But if you keep pushing it, like putting it off and pushing it back because of the amount of work, all that's going to happen is that it's just going to keep piling up, and that deadline is going to keep getting closer, and you're not going to have enough time, and everything's just going to become more difficult and overwhelming, and it's just going to you're gonna feel the pressure. Let's just say that. And in some ways, I think it's good to revise. Like, I think good ways to revise is to have a clear space, a set space for working and studying, and then a set space for relaxation. So I think both Sam and Jeffrey are going to agree with me when I say that mixing those two never works out well, because you need that balance of studying and having that downtime. So for example, if you sit on your bed and you work, it might work for you, but you're also very tempted to lie down and work. And then from lying down and working, you just go to sleep. I mean, at least I found that, but it might be different for you guys. I don't know what you guys think.
No, I'd say that's definitely true. Even like work, like if you're doing, because I know some people might be doing like online work or like working from home for the time being, and I think that's definitely one of the things that people have said. Like you just need to do, like, whether it's obviously depending on like your living situation, it differs, but like having that designated space to revise or to like work or to do lectures, and then that designated space to relax is good, because we're not going to be in lockdown forever. We are going to get out, and then you don't want it to be that your like, I guess your like work schedule or like the way that you work has just changed fundamentally, because eventually you'll be back in the office, and you don't want it to be like, if you're back at the office and when you're at home you are just working in bed, and you might get the occasional like afternoon napping. Obviously, that's unlikely that's going to be happening if you're back in the office. So yeah, just
So true.
yeah. So yeah, I think definitely like having that separation of space, even like your work, like your attitude towards the work that you do, it will like, it might not necessarily happen immediately, and that's perfectly fine, but over time, like you will see, like if you say, I don't know, like your living room is where you're going to do all your, lecture notes and stuff. And, you're going to relax in your bedroom. And that's just the separation between the two. Or, you're going to work in your kitchen or whatever. I think that's the key thing. And that's the best way to, cope with, especially with like revision, because I know how it might be hard in lockdown to like revise, and because all these exams for uni students at least are online, there's the tendency to be like, I don't know about you guys, but I know for us, we've got our course, our exams that we usually had, which were multiple choice, they're just now open book questions, and there's that tendency to just be like, it's an open book exam, I've got all the notes with me. Do I even really need to revise? And yeah, you still do, because like one of the things you'll see is that because it's online, like some of them at times, like ours is a 7-hour exam. So in that 7 hours, you won't have time to like go through all your notes or go through like lecture slides to extract the information you're looking for. You have to be like, this is where I want to do this is what I need to, this is the topic, this is what I've got from my revision notes that I noted down. So yeah, I think just doing that, having that separation definitely helps you to get into the mindset of especially when it comes to doing the online exam, you'll be more like focused because you'll have that designated workspace. It won't be like, the 7-hour exam and, you might accidentally fall asleep. I think I sort of, oh yeah, go ahead.
No, go on. I was going to say, because especially 7 hours when you don't know anything goes fast.
No, 100%. I know we had exams in December, and it was like the first online ones that me and another person had done, because we were both on placements, and yeah, we were just like, wow, like that exam went like really quickly, and it was one of those things where like, when you start, you think, 5 o'clock's not that close, come on, but then you're just like, it's 12. It's 3, it's 4. And then you're just like counting down the hours. And I think that's true. But yeah, the thing I was going to say before was, I guess it's funny because it didn't happen to me, but I'm very unfortunate to the person. So I didn't think this was true, but this person I saw on Instagram, it was a TikTok video that someone had uploaded to like a student meme page, I think, or student page. And they were saying that they were having like a Subway sandwich. I think they're in America, and they were having a Subway sandwich like on their, they're just eating it while doing an online exam, and their work got submitted because they were having which one was it? It's the one with it's the meat. I think she was having a meat feast. And one of the meatballs dropped onto the enter key and then entered, like, submitted. And she was just like, I kid you not, like, my Subway sandwich submitted my coursework before I'd even finished. And I was just like, nah, she's just joking. This is
using that as an excuse.
Yeah, honestly, I think in the end she
made my coursework, but
I think it's an upgrade to the dog at my coursework. But it's one of those things where you're just, because I think she was trying to, like, even, like, maybe film a TikTok while she was doing it. And she was basically saying, yeah, like, you see the video, she's like eating, and then she, like, drops the Subway thing just drops on the keyboard, and you just see her face of, like, pure shock. And then she, like, shows her screen, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like, now I know Subway's out.
Why is she eating it over her keyboard?
That's what I was thinking.
Who eats over their computer like that?
There are definitely lessons to be learned.
Yes.
But yeah, honestly,
one of them don't use during an exam.
Yeah, the main one.
Yeah, I think that's, and, like, if you
like ordering a Chinese, just like 1 second, I've just got to go to the door and get the Chinese I've just ordered.
Yeah, but yeah, honestly, it's just like, whenever I think about online exams, that story just always comes up, and yeah, I think that's, I guess, if anyone's listening and they want, there's many takeaway lessons there. I guess the pun intended. I
was gonna say.
But yeah, honestly, I think people should be careful when it comes to, like, doing anything, like, whether it's eating or you want to have a lunch break during the 7-hour exam. Always be careful, because, like, she might be able to, get out of it and, do it again, but it's also possible that she might not. And even, like, with being online, like, there's loads of technical issues. Like, I know some people who had internet, like, their internet disconnected just before they were going to upload, whether it was their coursework or their exam, or it crashed. And obviously, I think with coursework, it's easier. But with the exams, like, as soon as it closes, the lecturer can't even, like, if they emailed it over, the lecturer can't view it, because it's seen as not being, what's the word for it? It's basically a part of the, like, examination booklet that lecturers have to sign. So that's why I know my lecturer, for when we were doing the ones in December, she was just like, I'm going to be available. Like, she was like, I booked the whole day off. I booked the whole day, so I have no meetings. She said, like, if there's any technical issues, like whether it's with uploading your exam or, the website's crashed, she said, like, either call me on Teams, call me on my phone, or email me straight away. Because she was saying, if it's before the exam's been uploaded, then I can say, like, this student needs extra time and they can fix it. But yeah, I know also it can't work. And I guess one last thing before I finish is, in my second year, it was one of those things where it's, you don't wish this upon anyone, but, and yeah, at the time I was kind of a bit worried. But in my second year, because at Brunel, the way the exams work, so we had an exam in the exam hall. And basically, I brought my laptop, I was there on time, the exam was only an hour, and it came to the end of the hour, and then one of the invigilators just walked over to me and was just like, excuse me, but when was the last time you, like, selected an answer? And I was just like, I just did one. I've been doing one, like, since the whole time. She was just like, so the last time you didn't do it was, like, 30 minutes ago. And I was like, no, why would it be? And she was just like, yeah, for some reason, Wiseflow, which is where the exams, like, online exams are done on campus, pre-COVID. She was just like, yeah, but Wiseflow isn't registering any of your answers, and it hasn't been doing it for like 30 minutes. And I was just like, well, I don't know why, because my laptop's saying it's connected to the internet. So I don't know if it's me or Wi-Fi. And she was just like, yeah. So unfortunately, what we're going to do is we're going to have to actually keep you back for another hour so you can just redo the whole exam all over again.
Oh my God.
It's one of those things where I was just like if this was a comedy sketch, this would be the funny point. And yeah, like luckily, and she was just like, "Do you remember all your answers?" And I was just like, "Well, not really, but I mean, I was just like, I can try." So yeah, so like since then, I've always like been, and I know the person, because I had other exams that week. So the person was just like, "If you've got other exams that week," she said, "bring your laptop." She said, "Bring one from the university that you can like loan out." And she said, "Just bring both. Whatever happens, like on the day, we'll keep an eye out." And I told her, like, I'm cool with that. I'll bring both. I just don't want it to be that I get to the exam, because I think one of the exams I had that week was like an open book exam. It was like a essay type exam. And I was a bit like, I don't want to, be typing out a whole essay. And then next thing they come over and they're just like, well, the hour's finished, and guess what? Oh, yes, all the things you've typed haven't been saved, so you're gonna have to read it all again. But yeah, honestly, that's one of the things I'd say. Like when it comes to revision, always be prepared for anything, and just don't let it
flip the laptop and walk out.
Yeah, just flip the table, just walk out and be like, I'm done. Yeah, just always be prepared. I'd say is the and even if things do go wrong, and I guess it's not really an if, but when, because even if it doesn't go wrong to you, it's likely to happen to someone else. Just don't let it, I guess, like
I something go wrong, but in a very different way. Where in my my A levels, I was just chilling, doing some revision. I think I was in the library or something, and like this person just comes and runs in, just like, "Are you Samuel?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, like what's happening?" Just like, "You're supposed to be in an exam right now."
Oh my gosh.
Come right away. I was just like, what? And then they brought me into the exam. It was like quite far away, and I was just like stressed. I was like, what exam is it? Like, what have I missed? Like, I must have missed an exam. I was I got in there, my heart was pounding. I was just like, oh, I failed. I can't go to uni or whatever. So I sit down, I look at the paper, and I'm just like, I look at them, I'm just like, what is this? What subject is this? And they're just like, oh, I can't remember what it was. It was like some, I don't know, it might be like history or something. And then they were like, yeah, like, why were you late and stuff? And I was just like, I don't even do this subject. And then they looked at me just like, oh. And I was just there, just like, what the hell do I do? Like, you almost give me a heart attack. I want compensation, It was ridiculous, but yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, expect the unexpected to a different level there. I mean, like,
oh my God,
that one was just
scared you.
Yeah, no, I was like, my heart was pounding. I was like, I've
you must be thinking, how did I get my exam timetable that wrong? Like, come on.
Made me doubt myself. When someone comes in, they like say your name. They're like, you should have been here at this time. I was like, I'm late. I think it was like a 2-hour exam or something.
Oh,
oh my God.
But yeah, it turned out I was okay.
Luckily.
Yeah, I know. It's like, you can go. It's cool.
You're like, yeah, damn straight, I'm gonna go.
And I'm gonna take your name. No, yeah, it was bad. But also thinking of like what Ninoshka was saying earlier about having your own space. I think there's just like, I think it's something psychological as well. I mean, like just to sprinkle my subject area on it. Might as well.
Shameless.
Claiming it, yeah. This is my knowledge. No. Like if I'm in my room, I can't work. I've got to go to the library. I've got to do, I've got to go to a different location. I can do it in cafes. I can do it in the library, but in my room, I just get distracted. And it's like, because it's an environment where I'm like relaxing normally, or like watching a film, or like talking with friends, talking with family, or whatever. I sit down, my mind's in that state. And I think that different like environments have different states of mind. So if you're really trying to do that revision, it's just not working. You just keep getting distracted. You keep doing this, like try in a different environment, try going to a cafe, try going to the library. The library at Brunel is open right now. It's open during COVID restrictions as well. You can book. You had to book it in advance. Even if it's like if you're at home and you're doing like, I don't know, like, revision is just not really working. You're only doing like, at the end of the day, you're only doing like 2 hours because you keep getting distracted. Sometimes it's worth just taking a trip into Brunel like booking a library slot, because I do find it personally a lot easier. But also when you're saying about the sleep as well, like it is tempting to sleep when you're studying. We've all done it, haven't we, Ninoshka?
I'm not just studying, you know that. Just go to sleep whenever.
Well, a 20-minute nap has been noted to have some benefits to the mind. But we're not talking about a 20-minute nap. We're
But
talking
multiple 20-minute naps?
yeah, they're all in succession. Which also, I guess, just means just like, get a good bit of sleep while you're revising. Eat healthy food just to keep yourself going, because it gets tiring. Your brain uses so much energy. Like, honestly, like you think like, like if you don't eat and you're trying to do a lot of thinking, the brain just uses masses of energy. You think it's just running, but actually the brain can use like literally just as much. Trying to like whiz around thinking. I'm not sure if that's an actual run, but like it does use quite a lot. So get those fruits, get those vegetables, get those mineral foods to keep yourself going.
Exactly. No, so true.
Drink water. But yeah, otherwise you might fall asleep, as we've all done.
Yeah, I think what you were saying, like for me, this is weird, but I can't work at the library.
Really?
Yeah, I just can't do it. I hate it. I can't work in like cafes or anything as well, because I like being in like silent when I'm working, but I can't do it in the library, and I don't know why. I feel like I just need to be like, I don't like working in my room, but so I work like downstairs. Huh?
You just don't like working.
I just I don't like working in my room. I don't like working in the library. I don't like working in the cafe. What do you do, Ninoshka?
I just don't work. It's the easiest way.
I coasted through uni. What do you think? No, but yeah, I think I just need to be in my house, but in silence. Now that's asking a lot. But yeah, I can't work with noise. I can't work with music, with shows in the background. Like, I mean, revising. Like when I'm like now at work, that's different. Now I hate working at home. I like going into the office and working. It's so different, I think, when you start working and when you're studying. But yeah.
I find I get less distracted if people are around me. Like if I'm in my room, no one's judging me not revising. I can just browse all day.
You need to be judged.
I know if I'm in public and I'm just like browsing random stuff on YouTube and someone just looks at me just like, what is this guy doing in the library? I'm just like, I know this is the wrong thing, this is the wrong thing to be doing. I should be revising.
Just to make you happy, mister, I'm going to revise.
Yeah, just for you. I'm a people person, I care about you guys.
That's so funny. Oh my God. But yeah, I think also another thing is not using your phone. That's like the biggest temptation and the bane of my life, having my phone in front of me. Like I need to put it in another room or give it to my mum or just throw it out the window. I can't use it because I just look at it for no reason.
100%.
I don't know. No one's texting me. No message, nothing. I'm just looking at it though.
Just in case. Just you're ready for that text when it comes.
What if something different happened within the last 2 minutes? Oh no, let's check it again in a couple. I don't know why, but my phone is my biggest distraction. I can be on the laptop and I won't do anything. Like I'll just be actually like reading papers or something. But my phone, no, that's a death trap.
True. At the moment, I've deactivated social media. Well, not all of it, but like Instagram and stuff like that. I've just, like if I've just disappeared from the Instagram feeds, it's because there's like, it's because it's like the studying season. I've got like deadlines coming up like out of everywhere. They're not revision, but I just know that if I've got my phone, it'll just lead to like unnecessary minutes that lead into hours of my life just gone when I could be doing work and sort of getting a good thing. Because I mean, like at the end of the day, exam season, coursework only lasts like a couple of months max. Just do it now, and then you're set for a summer of just like guilt-free, do whatever you want, browse all you like.
That's really good though.
Yeah, it's better. It's a better trade-off to like get a better grade hit now and then have your fun later. It's very tempting to be in the moment, just be like, oh, I could look at my social media. I could call my mate. I think
I should disturb them too.
Yeah. That is true though. It is true. It's distractions during revision and coursework. It's all caused by your friends and yourself. It's one big cycle.
Moral of that story is don't have friends.
Yeah, just completely disown them all.
No, but that's a really good idea to deactivate. I don't know. I never did that. Maybe I should have. but I did waste a hell of a lot of time. But yeah,
Mm.
I don't know, Jeffrey, what do you think?
Yeah, so I guess two things. So yeah, the phone thing I definitely think is true. One of the things my dad like said you should. So this wasn't necessarily for like exams, but like one of the things that I didn't do before that I'm definitely doing more now is like if I'm. So it's two things. Not always like walking around with my phone around the house, because I think even as well, like if you've got no reason to have it in your pocket, sometimes you just do, and then you'll just be walking around with it, and then there's always that tendency to check it. So like if you go to the kitchen to boil the kettle, you'll just be like, oh, let me just check it while I'm here, and then you get distracted. So yeah, just like not always walking around with my phone in my pocket is one thing, but also like now, well, I'd say for like maybe the last 2 or 3 years, I've been like doing this thing where when I'm charging my phone, I just turn it off. Like the only reason I keep it on is if like I'm supposed to like meet up with someone. I'll turn it on like an hour before I'm supposed to leave to make sure everything's still okay or still going on. But yeah, I feel like, yeah, I think you guys are right. Like, and I think definitely, Sam, like having these, because I know that's one of the good things with phones nowadays is they've got like the focus mode where you can say like, I don't want to see notifications from these apps. Or like do not disturb mode, so your phone doesn't vibrate if anyone's sends a message, or the notification won't pop up. But I did find it interesting that you guys were talking about like what you do while you revise, because, and this is going to sound like super weird, but it's kind of like what Sam was saying. So personally, me, I can work. It switches up. So like when I was on campus, if I was had a lecture and I went to the library to just do a bit of my coursework or whatever, I could work there and like listen to music and stuff, and I'd just be working. At home though, I have this, and people, or even my family, think it doesn't work, but honestly, I'm telling you, it really does. I can't work with silence, and my mum's the exact same. But I can't work if the TV's on, because I just feel like the TV, especially if I'm watching it and it's something that I don't like, I'll just be like annoyed the whole time, and I'll just be like, I don't want to be seeing this. I don't want to watch it. So what I do most of the time is I'll just watch stuff on my laptop. So I sometimes like watch TV shows, films. There's like a gamer that I watch called Rad Brad. He does like gaming videos. I watch that, and I just watch it while I work. And people always ask me like, how are you able to like do coursework or do revision while you're doing this? And I wouldn't say it's like a skill, but it's just one of those things where it's just like it's kind of like background noise. Like I just like having a thing. So like even if it's I feel like really stuck on my coursework, I've got something else that I can just go to. Because I think the thing with like music is I have a tendency. So like I have a playlist which basically has like loads of songs on it, for the whole premise of when it comes to like listening to music, there's there's certain music you want to listen to at certain times. So I just made a playlist with like loads of music, because I'm just like, what, I'll play it, and then whatever music I like at the time, I'll listen to it. And I think that's good, because that's another thing that I know my sister sometimes says, that she when she's like revising, she does get distracted on like picking the right playlist and the right music. So that's why I like having that long playlist of music. So it just means like I can just click on the song, start it, and if I don't like it, skip it. And if I do, I can just listen to it. But yeah, just having something to watch while I work is always good. There is a tendency though that you do get distracted, especially if it's a comedy or or something serious. You do have a tendency to like get distracted. That's why I more lean towards like watching gaming videos, because it's just like background noise. And there's sometimes like, and I think that's the thing, like with stuff like that, whether you're watching someone streaming or, watching like a Q&A of someone, it's one of those things where it's not always interesting the whole time. So like if someone's playing a video game, there'll be times when they're just like walking around, exploring, not necessarily doing anything interesting to the story. But like with a TV show or film, that's rarely the case. So that's why I guess, it's different to what you guys said. But yeah, just having like watching like people game, specifically that guy, the Rad Brad, because he just does it like it's like immersion. So there's no like person in the corner. It's literally like you're playing the game yourself, and that's just perfect, because all you hear is his voice. You don't have someone's face in the corner like distracting you. It's sort of like watching a film, and then it's got these like mini fillers that you don't have to pay attention to, and you can just dedicate to working. yeah, I guess that's my routine. I wouldn't personally recommend it to anyone unless you know that you won't get distracted, because it is definitely easy to get distracted. But yeah, honestly, when it comes to revision, that's one of the things I always do, and it's just it's just worked, and yeah, it's just been always fun.
Although
So, yeah.
taking your point there, I think you've also made a pretty good point. Like, even if it does distract you when you're working, have it for your break. You know, like break, because breaks are so important.
Definitely.
To then one that will pick you up again. Because when I'm doing revision, my mind's just whirling around doing this, that. I feel it's working. You know, if it, you know, it feels like it's working on something. It's sort of like, it's like your mind's labouring in some way. And like having breaks is so important. So like, I mean, personally, I'll use music in my breaks to then like lift me up again, because then I'll be like going along to the tune, being like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like it'll like pick up again. So I think like it gets you sort of, you know, I don't know, it gets you into a different state where you're sort of mentally sort of going over some very sort of, I don't know, it can be quite arbitrary, it can be quite, I don't know, like logical and sort of not so emotional. And I think you need that sort of emotional pickup after you've done revising, personally, to give myself, you know, that sort of oomph again. Breathe life back into me. But yeah, no. So like, yeah, if you can't do it while you're doing the revision, because it distracts you, like you said, it could happen. Like, yeah, just save it for your break time or whatever.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So true. And just to quickly touch on the kind of aids that you have in terms of revision, you have like lecture slides. There's YouTube. YouTube's a great one. I mean, I wouldn't say Wikipedia, but to understand the basics, I think start with Wikipedia and then go out and look at the literature. That's another thing. So for me, that works. But I think one of the biggest helps is your lecturers, because they're always happy to help. I mean, before COVID, it was more of a just turn up at our office and we'll help you. It doesn't matter what time, like just turn up or email us. And they know the stuff inside out because they're the ones who prepare the lecture slides. They know the topic, they know the module. And then they're also going to be the ones who are writing the questions. So let's be honest, they're not going to tell you something that's wrong. They want the best for you as well. So, I mean, awesome. And now it's time for some of our own revision tips that, you know, work for us. So for me, the major thing that I've done throughout my entire years at uni was basically get as many past paper questions as I could, and just keep answering them repeatedly. So I'd write a model answer using all the resources that I have, like lectures and books and literature, and then I would keep that answer aside and come back to the question and write out my answer and then put them next to each other and check, did I answer the key points? Like, did I put this point, this point, this point? Okay, fine. I missed this last point. Then I'll remember it for next time after I go through all the rest of them, then come back to this one. I'll try it again. And I found that was a really good technique for me, because when I was writing my model answer, it forced me to read through everything and go through all the different topics, find links between modules and write out a detailed answer, which then when I was rewriting it multiple times, it reinforced the information into my head and I understood why I was doing it. And the one thing that you shouldn't forget if you end up doing this kind of thing is to time yourself, because for us, we had 3 questions that we had to answer in a 3-hour paper. So we had to limit ourselves to an hour per question. So you have to time yourself. The answer can be detailed, but you have to get the main points in within that hour, because you don't want to limit yourself on another question, because you do not have the luxury of time in an exam setting. So what about Sam and Jeffrey? What are your kind of revision tips and tricks?
So I'd say for me, my one big bit of advice is or tip would be like know how you revise. So I know we'll talk about them as the MC, but Ask Brunel they've got a lot of resources to help. So one of the things, I know that the PAL peer assisted learning team, I know they have documents on this, but I think Ask have it as well. And they basically, and for anyone who doesn't know, Ask stands for, I think it's academic skills and knowledge. But they're both teams at Brunel that help with like students when it comes to, academic work and supporting them. But they have this they have like a quick questionnaire that you can do, and there's ones online as well that tells you like whether you learn from listening, from writing, or from reading. And I think that's really good because, you know, when it comes to revision, you need to know the best way that you learn. So like I said, I love mind maps. Whenever it comes to revision, I like just doing that. So like I'll go over the notes that I've written, and then I'll take what I've put in from my notes put it into a mind map form. So I do a mind map for each of the individual modules. On most of the time, it's like an A4 piece of paper. If, you know, the modules like does a lot, then it'll be on an A3 one. And then for, like I said, that last exam, I do it all on like one A3 bit of paper or A2, just to like put it all there so I can be like, you know, this is everything. And yeah, just doing that questionnaire was really, really good. And like I said, there's loads online if you know you're not a Brunel student or you don't know where to find it at Brunel. But yeah, I definitely recommend just doing that, because knowing that just helped me with my revision. So I think for myself, I'm a like writing and audio one. So I like to listen. So like Ninoshka said, like YouTube videos on the subject. I know some people might be, I guess, say, you know, your uni student is supposed to be like an expert. But like, I know for me, because I didn't do like geography for A-levels or GCSE, some of the stuff or, you know, we do also a bit of biology and chemistry as well. So like some of the stuff that we do there, I have no experience on. So I do go to like Bite Size, or there's a group online called Crash Course, and they're like really good. They're on YouTube, and they're really good for like going over like anything that, you know, you're unsure about. Crash Course aren't specific; they're an American company, so they'll do it from like if you just, you know, you wanted to learn about the subject, but they do a lot of detail, and it's like really good. It's only like 10 minutes, but it's not overly complicated. It's like explained in a simple way. So if you're looking to like an introduction to a subject, I definitely recommend Crash Course. And Bite Size, for anyone who you know, has never used it before, it's resourced by the BBC that goes from like key stage 3 stuff all the way up to like A level. So it can be useful because I know some people, like if they're international students, won't have that experience as well. So yeah, I'd say those are my 2 tips. Just learn your learning style, whether it's audio, visual. I forgot what the other one is, but the reading one I think is, listening, reading, or hearing. And then, yeah, once you know that, just look for resources that will fit into that learning style. And it's perfectly cool to have, I mean, not cool like, you know, you're hip or whatever. It's perfectly fine to have like more than one learning style. So if you're both a listening and reading one, that's perfectly fine, because it means you just learn in both ways. You can try combining them as well. But even if you're just the one as well, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, just do those tests, and they can be really good. But yeah, I'd say make sure you do it from like a verified source. And I know that can be hard. That's why I said if you're at university, go to your university, or you know, your school might have resources that they could recommend, because they're more likely to be, you know, from verified sources, or, you know, follow the official technique, rather than just, you know, an online thing you find, because sometimes the random ones online can do it a wrong way, similar to like those, you know, like personality traits, whether you're extrovert, I've forgotten the thing, but it's like STES and something. But yeah, I'd say that's my advice. But what about you, Sam?
Nice. Yeah, that's actually such a cool idea to do, like those sort of tests. Like, I didn't even know that you could do a test to see if you're like a listener or a seer or whatever. Like, I need to do that actually. That's pretty cool. As for myself, I guess like it's all about like how you plan out whether you're going to do it. Like, it doesn't work for some people. They just can't plan. So they just, well, not that they can't plan, but they just don't find a plan very useful. So like some people will make like these colored charts about like, you know, Monday I'm going to revise this, Tuesday I'm going to revise that, Wednesday I'm going to revise that, and go through like little detail things, maybe mix it up in the day. And they can spend quite a long time doing it and then just like completely dismiss it. But I actually find it quite useful to know that I've got like a mix up in my day, because then if I haven't done enough revision on one thing, I can just add it in for the future, and I can sort of pre-plan where to put my energy, because it's obviously you've got a limited amount of energy when you're doing the revision, you don't have unlimited time and you don't have unlimited like resources of your like mental stamina. So it's best to, focus on the areas you're not so great at, and do that through, creating like a chart, creating a time. If you're not the kind of person that just like that needs like, I don't know, like a timetable to get your work done, to get yourself motivated, then like the best thing to do is to just start, I guess, and try and reflect on where you need extra help. So like get your mum, get your dad, get your brother, get your sister, to help you out and like test you, and wherever you're weak at, spend time there, realize where it is. But yeah, in the words of Shia LaBeouf, just do it.
So the last thing we're just going to talk about is a time where revising has not actually worked out well for us. So for me, I think at A-level, what Jeffrey was saying about you have to find the right way to revise and study, I hadn't found that. And I'm not going to lie, I hadn't found that till I think my final year of university. That's when I knew what was good for me. But I'd see everyone revising so much and they'd be doing different ways. Like they'd be making mind maps and all these nicely colored notes and highlighting this and that. And I tried everything and I just could not find the right thing for me. So, my A-levels kind of suffered in that sense because I didn't actually know what I was meant to do. And to be fair, actually, also A-levels were also super hard, like in my opinion, much harder than university. But yeah, I think going back to what Jeffrey was saying before, it's really, really, really important to find what kind of person are you in terms of revision. So yeah, what about you guys?
So I'd say for me, it's definitely A-levels. Like I guess the short version is, to sum it up, is basically in year 13, we had a assembly with one of the senior people at the school, and he basically summed it up like this. He was saying that when it comes to revision, sometimes people, is it emus? I think it's emus. They have this thing where they basically, if they get stressed, they just put their head in the sand and just like that's all they do. And I think that sums up and I think you're right. A-levels are definitely, and I think it's been said that the year 13 and year 12 are harder than the first year of university. And yeah, I think that's one of the things when it came to A-levels that I just felt like sometimes there were just times when like I wasn't revising. What was really good was my drama teacher. She was really nice. So she was close with my physics teacher. And she, my physics teacher spoke to her and said, it doesn't seem like, he's been super interested or been super engaging with revision stuff. So could you just check up on him? And then we spoke, and she was really nice because she like organized stuff for me to revise. So she gave me, she like let me like use, there were like music rooms that only the teachers had keys for, but like no one else could go in there. She let me use that a few times to just, do revision by myself and no distractions. She was really supportive like that. So yeah, I think that would be definitely an occasion where it wasn't going well until you got the help from teachers and stuff. And I think that's definitely another bit of advice for people to take home today.
Yeah, really good. I mean, for me, like it didn't go really wrong, I guess, necessarily in the revision process, although I do have some techniques that just didn't work out for me, like you were saying. But for me, it's about like trying to like revise, not necessarily the subject, but how to like answer it. So as I said, like mine are mainly essay based. And I remember one time I went into an exam. Bear in mind, this was before A-level, so it wasn't so serious. But you had to, so it was like answer one of these questions and choose one. It was out of 2 or 3. And I decided to answer them all. I mean, I don't know if we've all done that at one point, but I did it. And I was just like, it was an absolute massive facepalm afterwards. I was just like, how did I not see that? But the thing is that how can you do that like now? And like what effect does that have? It like learn what the paper is going to be like, learn the kind of setup it's going to have. Is it going to be essay based? Is it going to be this? And just make sure that you answer it in the way that they want you to answer it. So practice answering it and and structuring it well, and like reading the question as well, which is quite important, as I learned. But yeah, that's everything I can bring.
We are glad to introduce our new MC for this month. So our new MC is the Ask service at Brunel. I know we spoke about them before. So for those that might not know it, it's the academic skill and knowledge team at Brunel. We were basically highlighting them because they do amazing work when it comes to just giving students. And I think what's really good is they do it for all 3 years, or, all years of university. So whether it's first year, second year, or third year, you're given access to like a wide range of resources to help you. Even like, over COVID, they've been, we had a session, I know for my course, with an Ask ambassador, and, it was really good. He gave advice about tackling, online questions, and, there's this tendency to, because it's online, I'm going to sit back, relax, like we said, have a cup of coffee, give it an hour of rest, digest the question, then get into it. And he just explained the idea of, planning from the end. So if you've got a 7-hour exam, it's going to start at this time, end at this time. Start from the end time and think, this is where I want to be at like 3 o'clock. This is where I want to be at 9 o'clock, or whichever way it goes, basically. But yeah, I think they're definitely like really important. And for any Brunel student that hasn't used them, I would recommend that you do. You can book one-to-one meetings with them as well if you have any concerns. For anyone in their second year, or first year masters, they're doing 2 years, they do offer like stuff for dissertations as well. They have like a dissertation week. So if you are concerned about your dissertation, definitely during that time period, just get in contact with them and they'll be able to help you as well. But yeah, they're our MC for this month. And if anyone who's not a Brunel, there are, I believe there most likely will be services at your university as well, at your school. So get in contact with them, and they'll be able to support you as well. And then lastly, for any Brunel students, just to let you know, each course normally has an Ask staff member that will work with that course. So contact your lecturers, contact the head of your course. If you feel like, as a course, you need to have a full session because you think what the information they give you will be beneficial to everyone to hear, get in contact with them, and, they'll be able to book in like a Teams or a Zoom chat with everyone after a lecture one day, or to replace a lecture one day. Especially, leading up to the exam season, it's best to be as prepared as you can be. But yeah, we'll have their website, the link to their website on our website. And they're also, if you type in Ask Brunel into Google, you can find them there. So yeah, they're our MC for this month. Thank you everyone for listening. We've come to the end of the episode and we're glad to have you guys here. Keep an eye out for our next episode and we will see you all soon. I wish you all the best and have a lovely day.